Wow, check this out. Delhivery is acquiring Ecom Express. That's pretty huge news in the logistics world, right?
Absolutely. It's a significant move. Especially considering the kind of scale Delhivery is aiming for, they're buying at least 99.4% of Ecom Express for around 1,407 crore rupees. It's all cash, by the way.
Okay, so why is this such a big deal? I mean, aren't there a bunch of logistics companies out there?
Well, it's about synergy and scale. According to the press release, Delhivery believes this will really boost improvements in cost efficiency, speed, and reach for logistics services. The MD and CEO even mentioned they will continue bold investments in infrastructure, technology, network, and people.
Gotcha. So it's like merging two companies to create a logistics superforce?
Exactly. And according to the document filed with the stock exchanges, the idea is that greater scale means they can invest more in things like network expansion, automation, and even electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles. Interesting. So, what does Ecom Express bring to the table?
Ecom Express is no small player. They're an end to end technology enabled logistics solutions provider, incorporated way back in 2012. They've delivered nearly 2 billion shipments to 97% of Indian households since they started.
2 billion shipments. That's insane. I guess that explains why Delhivery is so interested. Where are they based?
They are headquartered in Gurugram, Haryana. It's actually pretty cool how this acquisition could benefit the entire logistics industry, right?
How so?
Well, Delivery thinks it'll foster growth in the vendor ecosystem. Companies that provide things like fleet and automation solutions might be more willing to invest in assets and R&D, which would, benefit everyone.
Makes sense. It's like when a big player gets bigger, it encourages innovation all around. What's the timeline on this?
They're aiming to complete the acquisition within 6 months from April 5th, 2025, unless they extend the share purchase agreement. Of course, it's subject to approval from the Competition Commission of India.
The regulatory hurdles. Always got to jump through those hoops. So, what kind of turnover does Ecom Express have?
Their turnover as of March 31st, 2024 was about 26,073 million rupees. They've shown consistent growth over the last few years.
Okay, so a significant player in the market makes you wonder what this will do to competition in the long run. By the way, I am curious about something. Is this a related party transaction?
No, Delhivery clarified that it's a professionally managed company without any identifiable promoter group, so Ecom isn't a related party. It's all happening at arm's length, as they say.
Good to know. So, all cash consideration, 99.4% stake. This is a full on acquisition. Do we know what advisors were involved?
Yeah, Shaurul Amachad Mangaldas and company were the legal advisors, and Ernst & Young handled the financial and tax diligence for Delhivery.
Smart to have those big names on board. Any word on how this will affect customers?
Well, both companies are saying that customers will be better served through the combination of their strengths. That's the official line anyway.
Fair enough. So, bigger network, better technology. It sounds promising. I wonder if this means we'll see faster deliveries and lower costs for consumers?
That's the hope. It could also mean more specialized services or maybe even expansion into new markets. Logistics is kind of like the backbone of e-commerce, and efficient logistics can really drive economic growth.
Speaking of growth, this news makes me consider investing in Delhivery.
Disclaimer: we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions. Just saying.
Good call. So, what's the bottom line here? What's the long-term impact?
But ultimately, this acquisition could reshape the logistics landscape in India. If Delhivery can successfully integrate Ecom Express, they'll have a massive competitive advantage. Plus, it could spur innovation and investment across the entire industry.
Makes you wonder who's going to be the next big player to make a move. The logistics game is getting serious.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, if you're enjoying these kinds of updates, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
So, what do you think this acquisition will mean for smaller logistics companies, the ones that aren't giants like Delhivery and Ecom Express?
That's a good question. It could create both challenges and opportunities. On one hand, they'll face increased competition from a larger, more efficient player.
Right, it's like trying to compete with a massive, well oiled machine when you're just starting out.
Exactly. But on the other hand, it could also create opportunities for them to specialize in niche areas or partner with Delhivery to provide specific services.
Okay, so maybe they could become specialized suppliers or focus on serving specific regions or industries that the bigger players might overlook.
Precisely. It's all about finding their niche and leveraging their strengths to stay competitive. Logistics is so diverse. There's always room for innovation and specialization.
True. And speaking of competition, what about other big players in the logistics space? How do you think they'll react to this acquisition?
They're probably watching closely and strategizing their next moves. This could trigger a wave of consolidation in the industry as companies try to gain scale and improve their competitiveness.
So we might see more mergers and acquisitions in the near future.
It's definitely possible. The logistics industry is constantly evolving and companies need to adapt to stay ahead. Scale is becoming increasingly important, so consolidation is a natural response.
So it's like a game of chess where one big move can change the entire landscape. I wonder what other strategies companies might use to compete with Delhivery after this acquisition.
They might focus on improving their technology, expanding their service offerings, or building stronger relationships with their customers. Some might even try to forge alliances with other players to create a counterweight to Delhivery's dominance.
Alliances, that's an interesting idea. It's like forming a coalition to challenge the leading force.
Yeah, it could be a way for smaller players to pool their resources and expertise to compete more effectively. Or they could target specific customer segments where they have a competitive advantage.
So rather than trying to compete head on with Delhivery, they could focus on serving specific needs or markets that the giant might not be able to address as effectively.
Exactly. It's all about finding their unique value proposition and building a sustainable business around it. The logistics industry is complex and multifaceted, so there's plenty of room for different players with different strengths and strategies.
Makes sense. It sounds like this acquisition could really shake things up and lead to some interesting developments in the logistics sector.
Absolutely. It's going to be fascinating to watch how the industry responds and adapts to this new reality. This is one of the reasons I like following this industry so much.
Totally. This whole Delhivery Ecom Express deal is something to keep our eye on. It will be interesting to see if the synergies between the two companies work out as planned. Thanks for breaking this down for me.
My pleasure. Logistics is critical infrastructure, so anything that changes it is important.